Wait a second, we fucking did that one!
Hmm?
The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. That was case 4 in the first game! Fuck! We're doing it again! That was probably my least favorite one from that game. No!
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night.
No!
Oh, is this the knife one?
Ah, we're going back to the knife one!
Ah, I'm gonna sit in this bloody throne.
Mystery of just who from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight, than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of the very night.
What? So we just never talked about this after it happened in the first game?
Of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out in my journey. And this is the story of how I was hung for treason, and how I destroyed the train system in Great Britain. Having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. And he was a fucking goofball. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Great Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. And since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber, thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Wait, shit, I'm alive! Fuck it! I came back from the dead to be a lawyer? What kind of bullshit is this? What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. Must be nearly time for breakfast. Better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. Oh boy, I have to do Iris's voice again. Not looking forward to this.
Oh, Ruda, how goody! Oh, yay! I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Good morning, Iris. God, I hate your voice.
You can always change it.
My own damn fault.
It is.
It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. Nope, no time for that. Wait, no, I didn't have an English accent before. Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. Shh. Not another word. I have to be handsome. I need you to suckle my milkies. What? I made fresh milk this morning, Mr. Naruhodo-san.
It's okay. You are a good boy. Oh, I'm at one battery. I'm gonna plug this in when I leave. Daddy!
Welcome back, Daddy. I'm Shikuquaza.
And I'm waifu.
This could just be the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Speaking of stimulation, this is side-by-side plays. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, I see. So that's it. What?
Mr. Sholmes, I can't breathe.
The truth is as clear to me as as day. The faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruto, you have, this very morning, met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. I really shouldn't sit like this again, because I sat like this all night for D&D.
Like this?
Yeah, but this is way more comfortable.
No, this is a much more comfy chair than that.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you've neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. Yeah, it's because I'm late for court this morning. You getting in my way is not helping. Can I talk now? But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? Well, you must have been flustered since the moment I first laid eyes upon you. And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you. What? Oh, yeah, the implications there are...
Mm-hmm.
Holy pulled your button off?
Yes, we were, participating... Oh god, I fucking botched that accent there. We were participating in, man wrestling. Very common of the time, yes? Oh, yes, yeah, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing tones of notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. My G-string! Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Ah, Sholmes is the ADHD representation we need in video games. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring. I have deduced that you cannot fix a violin string with a button. For some reason. This seems like an intentional design flaw by the makers of the violin.
But Hurley, Bruno said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning.
I don't remember that. That was like 2 weeks ago when we recorded that. Surprise this morning. Yes, he did say that. Well, that really is a surprise. How do you expect me to remember something that happened 5 minutes ago? Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire. The famous consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I'll pose now. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name.
Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend.
Oh, I actually learned the other day why, oh god. The Brits pronounce the H in herb, but Americans do not, so I guess technically she should be saying herbal tea. And this is gonna piss off Scott, because he always pronounces it for some reason he pronounces it the British way. Basically it has to do with, I don't even remember now. It's based on the root word that herb comes from, and like it got introduced to the English language about the same time that America was coming around, I think. I don't know. I'll have to look it up again. And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, as published in Rance magazine. So, Mr. Naruto, won't you put us out of our misery?
Here, put this gun against my head. I missed that dear fellow in the pawn shop. I don't remember his name, but he had the right idea. What surprised you this fine morning? Ah, well, I received a letter. We just got a... Okay, I should stop getting distracted.
Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it? Really?
That's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast.
Oh yes, I'm really tired of not eating breakfast. Let's do it. I'm hungry.
Hold on. Oh god, this room is so big. What you got working on there, Iris? Yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? What's in the melting pot today? The blue carbuncle?
Yes, it's from a case of theft that Hurley solved ages ago. The theft of a precious stone. A carbuncle is another name for a garnet, you see. Especially if it's cut with a rounded top.
Oh, really? And this garnet was blue, was it?
It's more of a violet color, I suppose. They're usually red. No blue garnets have ever been discovered.
Oh.
So who knows what the stolen gemstone actually was? Hurley never found it.
A proper Sherlock Holmes conundrum, huh? There was supposed to be something I was supposed to investigate in this room. I can't even imagine being an old-timey author and typing on these stupid typewriters and having a limit. I mean, I guess that's definitely my ADHD talking, but, like, I hate deadlines in general. I'd hate to, like... You've seen Kiki's Delivery Service, right?
Mm-hmm.
That whole movie is about burnout and how even if you do something you love, if it becomes a job, it becomes a job. Like, you start getting... like...
Burnout so quickly.
Yeah.
That's why I always aspired to be the pigeon woman.
The pigeon woman, yes.
It just lives in... Does she live in a shack, or does she live in the...
Are you talking about Home Alone 2?
No, she was in Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh, sorry. It's been literal years since I've seen it, but I remember the message of it very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she... Oh, she lives out in the woods and takes photos of pigeons.
Yeah, I definitely thought you were talking about the pigeon woman from Home Alone 2.
Oh, no.
Very similar concept, it sounds like. Yeah. I'm not going to be voicing all this stuff because there's just so much shit in here and it's not going to be story important at all. I want to get to the next story beat. I really wish that we lived in a country that instead of a fireplace, a frost place.
Like an air conditioner.
Yeah. Brits don't know how fucking lucky they are to live in a place where it's mostly cool, because, like, there's so few places in the world that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
that
nowadays.
Are livable.
Yeah. And there are so few places that actually use air conditioning. Like, that was kind of my biggest, like, throwing off, like, I don't know how to phrase that, but that was my biggest,
turn off.
Yeah, turn off from trying to move is just knowing that places outside of the Midwest United States generally do not have air conditioning. It's like, how the fuck do you function in the summer? And the answer is most places just deal with it, and they always have, and it sucks because, like, air conditioning's super, super important.
They don't know any better.
Yeah. Oh well.
And then they take it to a pride thing when they do find out.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, Brits don't know how good they have it, because like it's so much easier to keep warm in the winter than it is to keep cool in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still like amazed that my brother likes summer more than winter. Because it's like, me and Scott will go back and forth with him all the time, but it's like such a backwards concept. It's so much... the violin! Even though it's a viola. Wasn't this violin... Wait, no. Violas are bigger than violins, right? Okay, yeah, no, sorry. Other way around. Wasn't this violin made by somebody famous?
Yes, it's a Stradivarius. Though I'm afraid you have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Runo. That's how minimum wage works.
Didn't you buy it for a song, Mr. Sholmes? I found it at a pawnbrokery among the forfeited articles. It clearly said Stradivarius on the label. What?
He got lucky.
Yeah. 55 shillings.
Bargain hunter.
But is it really a Stradivarius then? But of course, my dear fellow, it said so on the label. I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for selling. Well, we don't know it's not. Okay, I could have sworn there was something in here I was supposed to click on for an achievement or whatever. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Here, look at this thing. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, about this. Shh! One word. Oh, yes, I see. This would be a collar for a breed of miniature canine with a particularly long neck, and for winter use. Actually, it's the armband I always wear that symbolizes my role as a defense lawyer. Precisely, which leads us to but one conclusion. You're a dog. Yip yip. Your arm is, in fact, the particularly long neck of a miniature canine. Ah, I've seen an anime like that once. Starting to wish I'd never shown him this now. This man's barking mad. Ha ha! Okay, I'm beginning to think I don't have anything in here left to click. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning, by international post.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer in the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Wow, it must be really easy to be a lawyer over there.
Now, Aris, no racism at the breakfast table.
We saved that for the dinner table.
We save that for the dinner table when we have guests. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, don't recall that name. Of course you do. We helped the man. Twice. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 2 months ago. There was only one, though. God.
We're gonna have a second one.
I'm sure, yeah. That mustache, twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache.
He's ADHD.
He didn't have 2 mustaches early. Did he say? Oh, yeah. He said it twice. Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made for a deep impression on me. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you. Clearly.
God damn it. How can I not get onto this?
So, what was this startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes. It's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. This definitely feels like we're playing Nirvana Initiative again, where they're like, oh yeah, this thing that happened. And then it didn't happen yet because we hadn't played it yet, because the game's out of order. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asks that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago, for what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Alright, back in time we go. Here, I've got my time machine. He just pulls out a time machine from the story, The Time Machine. Why do you have that?
Back to the Future. He goes, I'm gonna need to borrow this.
Yeah, he steals it from himself. It's called the bootstrap paradox. Come along, keep up now. On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Susato's father questioned him about the case, she says, and something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikutoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes! I remember like it was just yesterday.
It was just yesterday, Iris.
And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all cockblocky about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said, very mysteriously as well.
Really? I said that, are you sure?
Oh, so he's just gaslighting us.
He's just gaslighting us, yes. Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? Nope.
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at the Dover.
I want to visit that. Honestly, just any other fucking country, but like I especially want to visit the cliffs of Dover. They just seem like a really interesting piece of.
Don't worry, when we finally have time and money to go to like England and everything, we'll.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Take a couple weeks and actually go everywhere.
Yeah, let's see everywhere there is to see in America first, then we can get passports and shit. I was actually thinking about that the other day. I wanted to try to get a passport so we could visit Canada, but then I was like, well, is there really any touristy things in Canada?
Yeah.
Is there, though?
For artists.
Is there? No, I'm just kidding.
That's what I said to you.
We'll have to look into it for sure.
It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she suddenly announced she had to go back to Japan.
Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No, it just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. So basically the same thing, in this day and age. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse?
How rude.
How rude, Runo! So Susie's daddy lied to her so she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that?
Because the voyage is like 2 months long, and if you try to get someone back home as quickly as possible, any time delay is gonna be a big difference.
Oh my god.
But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Miss Susato's father is hiding.
I can wear bloody bandages!
You wear bloody bandages every month, Kristen.
Hurley, do you know what it's all about?
Nope, that's a lesson for when you're older. I changed my clothes while you weren't looking. Well, who can say? You said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellows. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris? I won't be here for this flashback sequence.
I will, Hurley. Don't worry. See you later.
Adieu, as the French say. Which I hate, because the British and the French never get along. He scuttled off rather quickly there. Turns out he has an allergy to flashbacks. I think perhaps Professor Mikutoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha! I found them at last!
Iris, are they...
The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Reno?
Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case, even though I was there the whole time!
That's the spirit!
The twist is that because we're reading this from a manuscript, we're doing this from Iris's perspective. The whole game is not from Ryunosuke's perspective at all. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. Was that something that they touched upon in the last game, or is that just something that we need to learn about still?